guys, welcome back. So today I'm gonna be washing the mini truck, trying to see how bad the paint is and see how much rust there is. And what I'm gonna end up doing with this, or my plan down the road, is to do like a rattle can paint job. Probably gonna have a little fun with it, probably do something like a camo. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube about it. I think I'm gonna do something different though. Everything I've seen out there is more of a hunting camo. I'm gonna do something more like a winter camo. I think it'll look cool. The vehicle's already white, so I'm halfway there. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the side gates and the tailgate. I see that there's a like a set screw here. I'm gonna remove that, and I think once I do that, I could just pull out the entire, just slide out from the hinges, the entire side gate. Same thing on the other side. Screw right there, and on the tailgate there's a screw right there. So I'm gonna do that next. Okay, so I washed down the mini truck. I scrubbed the paint with some Scotch Brite pads. You could see even with that, there's just dirt that's just embedded in the paint. This is actually, it looks like they over its lifespan they sprayed it some more with some rattle can paint to probably touch up scratches or dents or little spots of rust or whatever it might be. My plan is to paint the bed with Bedliner, black Bedliner, and also the inside of the tailgates and the side gates. And then on the outside I'll just do you know, just a gloss white rattle can paint job. Not a lot of straight panels on this thing, so I think it's going to be very forgiving. Also, I've noticed that it looks like the mirrors were black plastic, as was the entire bumper, and somebody at some point painted it. When I was washing and scrubbing with the Scotch Brite, some of the paint came off. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the bumper white. I'm going to do the headlight bezels, which I think were also black plastic. I'm going to paint that in Bedliner too. I think that'll look pretty cool. And I'm going to paint just the inside grille black and leave the rest of the bumper white, or repaint it white. The Honda badge, I don't know yet. I might remove it, paint it, and reinstall it. Maybe I'll paint it black, maybe I'll paint it silver. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure how that's held on. I'm hoping it's just with like the 3M tape. So I'm gonna try the old heat gun with dental floss method to remove it. But what I think I'm gonna do now is continue scrubbing the bed, remove the side gates, the tailgates, remove the bumper, the mirrors, the headlight bezels, and probably that antenna too. So I have nothing in my way when time comes to paint. Okay, so I was afraid to break these, so I was trying to get them off, making sure nothing got broken. But basically, the 2 screws that hold the blinker in, after you remove those, you can lift this out, and on the front here, there's 2 like friction pins. It's basically a stud with a ball end on it, 2 of those, and they basically just snap fit onto those 2 receptacles there. So it's plastic on metal, so you just gotta be sure not to flex it too hard to have the frame break on its thinnest area. But other than that, it came out pretty easily. I removed the other side as well. If you need to remove the headlight, it looks like it's held on with a screw there and 2 on this side. You can kind of see them down there, one down there, one down there. What I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to remove them just so it'll make it easier when I'm painting to not worry about getting overspray or masking that area. Okay, so started raining, so I had to bring her inside, but basically I removed the taillights. Taillights were pretty easy to remove. It's basically 4 screws, 2 here, 2 here on both sides, and then you just gotta unplug the plug. What I did was I put a rubber glove and a zip tie on all of these connectors so that they wouldn't get any corrosion. Did the same thing for the license plate light. That also came out with just removing 2 screws. The bed is all sanded down. It's still a little wet, but pretty much got all the dirt and debris that was on it off. I think it's pretty good for Bedliner now. I have to wait for better weather, obviously. Let me swing around to the front. So this is basically what she looks like without a bumper and without headlights. The headlights were removed by just removing 3 screws. Once you got the bezel out, so 1, 2, 3. Same thing for the other side. The bumper is actually, once you remove the blinkers, there is a you can see here this threaded stud. There's a nut there, a nut on the opposite end right there, and there's also 3 screws or 2 screws on the bottom that attach onto this skid plate. It's kind of dark here. I don't know if you can be able to see that on camera, but and then there's these 2 threaded nuts as well, and to get access to those you actually have to go through the inside. So you gotta open the door, and that way you could remove the screw that's there and the screw that's there, and the bumper comes right out. Very easy. The only thing to be careful with is the horn, which I removed, but this is actually the connector for the horn. The horn is attached to the bumper itself. There's a threaded stud and a bracket on the bumper, so when you remove it, just be careful, because the connectors, the cord on the connector is shorter than the distance of the bumper to the floor, so you just have to be gentle with it. So I've pretty much sanded it all down and removed as much as what I could. There were some black rubber body, like I guess you could call them bumpers. One here too that I removed on both sides. So pretty much there's nothing in the way now of painting. The engine cover, that's the Acty engine right there, all 660 cc's. Basically I pull this, I think what I'm going to do is when I paint I might mask this off with a plastic bag so I could get some paint in that channel, and then paint. Actually I don't know if I want to get paint in that channel, just because Bedliner is kind of thick and I think it might create an issue with the seal with this gasket. So I might paint it with the door on there, or the panel on there. I'm debating whether to paint the bedliner all the way up the back, or just to the height of the bed. If anybody has any comments on that, let me know. The roll bar is removed. Probably gonna paint that first. That's gonna be an easy one. And I think the one thing I'm gonna have to do as well is remove the mirrors and possibly the door locks, just because again, it's gonna be a rattle can paint job. I don't want to get paint on the black door handles. I just hate overspray, even if it's I know this is not going to be a perfect thing, but if I could avoid it, I'm going to try to. Alright, have a bit of an update. So I finally applied the bedliner paint. I used the Rust-Oleum bedliner. Went on pretty easily. This extra black that you see here, that's not overspray. That's any areas that had like light rusting. I sanded it down and I sprayed it with basically rust encapsulator. But the bedliner actually only goes right to the edge here. So my idea for this was to have the inside of the side gates and the tailgate to be in the bedliner, and the outside to be the body color. And so I painted the bedliner just up to the level where the side gates would come up to. The other thing too is if you're doing this and if you're gonna paint the rest of the vehicle, don't do what I did. Don't do the bedliner first. Save that for last. The reason being is that now I'm trying to mask the bedliner off so I could paint the body, and guess what? Tape does not stick to the bedliner. I bought 3 kinds of tape, thinking maybe I just didn't buy an aggressive enough adhesive tape, and it's to no avail. Nothing sticks to this bedliner. So what I might have to do is when I paint the body, I'm gonna have overspray going onto the bedliner, and then I'm just gonna have to redo the bedliner again. But I'm only gonna do like a top coat just to clean it up. I don't need to do like the 3 heavy coats that I applied on here. As far as, it took about 3 cans to do all of this. Like I said, I did a few coats, so because I wanted it to be thick on there, and I just did a very light coat at a time. If you do very heavy coats, you end up losing the texture. This has like a sandpaper type texture. It's actually not as abrasive as sandpaper, but it does have somewhat of an abrasive texture. I don't think it'll damage stuff that you throw in there. So in the meantime, I've also masked off all the glass. I've pulled off the gasket off of the window frames, just far down enough that I could paint right to the inside edge. That will be hidden by the rubber molding. Remove the mirrors, and I started to do a light coat of just a tack coat of the primer. I'm also using Rust-Oleum primer sealer. I'm doing great because white on white, it's hard for me to tell how well it's covered. Let me swing around the back here. Also masked off the door handles. The tires, I'm not worried about masking those off because those are getting replaced. I gotta remove the mud guards in the front. I already did the ones in the rear. Let me swing around to the front, and yeah, masked off the windshield wiper arms. Actually removed the arms, but masked off the tie downs and the spray windshield washer fluid sprayers. And I also the antenna has a hard wire. It's crimped on, so you can't remove it from the antenna. So I just pulled it out and I taped up the antenna, and I'll just spray around that cable. It's not a big deal. The other thing too is I ordered tires for it, and they are right there. So they're Sun F. I hope these fit on the original wheels, 12-inch wheels. These are a 25 by 8 by 12, so 25 diameter, 8 inches wide, 12-inch rim. They're not a knobbly tire, they're more of like a road tire or a tarmac tire. So I think it'll be a softer ride than having those aggressive mud tires that I see on a lot of these builds. So I mean, that's where I am right now, and the weather's gotten real cold again. That's why it's in the garage. I'm gonna try to finish up the primer, and hopefully we'll get a break in the weather and we could start painting the body color and putting all the panels back on.